Frank Trigg. I'm the World Welterweight Champion for the World Fighting Alliance, WFA. Since I was 12 years old, I've been competing internationally in wrestling. Just retired from that sport about a year and a half ago. Just passed and received my second-degree black belt in judo from Patrick Burris, owner, partner in the Raw training facility, as well as one of the Raw team. Who asked me who my dream fight would be, who I like to fight. For me, this isn't personal, it's a sport. I don't really care who I fight. There's not a dream fight out there for me because there's in reality, there's no one really that I believe is better than me at 170 or 185 anywhere in the world. There's a lot of fighters out there that have this thing that they want to fight me because of whatever I've said in the news about them, whatever I've said in reports about them. Well, I've never lied, I've never made anything up, and whatever I've said about you or anybody else is true. And if you can't handle the truth about yourself, well then change what you do. It's pretty simple. I'm fighting as many times a year as I comfortably can. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and get as many fights in this year. 2003, get as many fights in 2004, and kind of determine how long I want to stay in it. Moving on to the next fight, and whether it's in Amsterdam or whether it's in Tokyo or whether it's in Shoney Carter. He's essentially mad at me because of something that he did to himself. He had an opportunity to come out and try to prove he was the better man and fight me in the ring, and he didn't do what he was supposed to do when he was supposed to do it. He's supposed to have his medicals done. It's a fact, and it's not something that I picked up randomly and got through rumorville. The commission doctor told me as such, that she didn't pass him on his eye test because he failed his eye test. Now, whether or not he passed it later to fight in King of the Cage a couple weeks after that, that's not my issue. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. All of us got the same facts. We're supposed to get our medicals done before we showed up a week before the fight. I had mine done, 90% of the other fighters had theirs done. He showed up not ready to go. Either he got rushed through and it didn't pass, or he didn't pass. The fact is, he wasn't professional enough to have his medicals done before he showed up at the fight, and he failed. As a result, he's got everyone else scrambling around trying to pick up the main event fight, or one of the main event fights, by getting another fighter for me. And then Jason Medina had to stand up like a man and take the event. And it's just unfortunate that Shoney wants to talk about how he's going to beat me up and lay me down. And like I said, now he's bringing everything personal, and he's like trying to threaten me over something that he did. It's very cut and dry. He should have had his eye exam before he got there, should have all his medicals done before he showed up. He didn't do it. He's unprofessional. That's just the way it is. He's an unprofessional athlete. During my last fight, when I was fighting for the title of the WFA, I fought Dennis Superman Hallman. Essentially, it was a TKO in the first due to abandonment. Essentially what happened is that the rule states that anything below the belt line is a low blow. I kicked him below the belt line, but it wasn't in his groin area. After Larry Landless took a look at it, you could clearly see where he got hit above his cup line, and so it was determined incidental contact, low blow, but not in the groin. So as a result, it goes to a 5-minute rest period for Dennis, or the guy that gets hit. He's given the 5 minutes to recuperate, and he quit essentially. He just gave up. They gave me the title, and that's the way it works. Hallman went on everyone saying how much of a pussy I was for taking the belt against him, and that how if the rules were in reverse, he wouldn't have taken the belt or whatever. Well, I didn't cry in the middle of the ring about getting kicked. I wasn't the one blowing tears like a little 8-year-old girl in the edge of the ring after I got beat. You know, I took the belt and took my money and went home. It's not, and you give him 5 minutes, anybody can come back and heal, especially when the title's on the line and you got that much money coming on. I mean, I don't care. You're going to have to get the doctor to keep me out of the fight, and the doctor said he was fine, he can go ahead and fight, and he chose not to continue. So that's what it is. Liddell and Ortiz, my feeling is, and I know Chuck relatively well, and we've had some really good conversations as fighters. We've been out together as friends, and Tito, unfortunately, I've never really had a chance to hang out with him. Now, mind you, I'm not in either guy's camp. I don't sit there and pretend that I know exactly what's going on inside these guys. I don't think Liddell and Ortiz will ever happen, because I don't think Ortiz wants that fight to happen. Ortiz has been able to bully himself around. He's been the big bully on the playground, and it's worked for him. I mean, by saying that, hey, look, I'm the biggest guy on the playground, this is my playground, I'm taking your lunch money. I don't think that'll happen with Chuck. I don't think he's going to be able to do that with Chuck, because Chuck's hands and feet are much better than anybody else he's ever competed against. He knows what it takes to be at a big tournament like the national tournament in Division I and wrestling against guys that are trying to score as many points on you as possible. He knows what that's like. If the fight ever happens, I'm going to put my money on Chuck. It's always been my toes because I paint my toenails. I've been painting my toenails straight since 1994, maybe a little bit before that. My wife Nicole, who is was an athletic trainer at the University of Oklahoma, which is how we met, got tired of trying to pack my toenails. I got real bad ingrown toenails from going from tight wrestling shoes to doing judo with no shoes on. So she suggests I start putting clear nail polish on it. It helped somewhat, but didn't help all the way. They still kept getting ripped off and cracked and what have you. And she said if you put colored polish on there, it'll hold better. Well, I had colored polish on there for about 2 weeks until eventually I got caught inside the wrestling locker room at the University of Oklahoma with my socks off. And then at that stage, when you got the whole team picking on you, you can't take the toenail polish off because then they realize they're in your head and they'll pick on you for the rest of the season. So I just left them painted. It became a big gimmick. Went overseas, had them painted for one of my first fights against Marcelo Aguilar over in Tokyo. And one of the managers asked, who's her favorite American fighter, and the girl couldn't explain who she liked, and because she didn't know my name, and it came out the guy with the twinkle toes, and it stuck. And so now my nickname is Twinkle Toes, just the way it is. But I figure if it's good enough for Shaquille O'Neal to paint his toenails, I can get away with it too. So.